Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back inside the Janitor's Closet. We are live. And folks, you know that if I, Josh Frey-Sam, am sitting here in the hosting chair, you know what time of the year it is. We are back to the diamond football field. That's off-season stuff. We're on the diamond here for regular season baseball coming your way real quick. Josh Frey-Sam alongside my co-host, as always, here, Bryce Hunt. Bryce, it's your time to shine, man. We got baseball back. It's almost spring. It's not really looking like spring where we are right now, but it is nearing spring. We are in the middle of spring training. Storylines are cooking. News is flowing right now. The futures bets, there is no better time of year than right now to get the futures bets going, and that is what we have coming for the folks today. We'll get to the futures bets in just a second, Bryce. Let's just take the folks through maybe what you were seeing, what you were thinking, the thought process, all like that. We're coming off a really successful year on the diamond in which we went 65 and 34 overall, nearly 33 units in the green, and the futures bets had a really big part of that, going 4-2 for over 18 units in the green on last year's futures bets. So this treated us really well, but Take the folks through maybe what you were seeing, what the mindset was, or what the philosophy was here going into what is hopefully a strong encore from you.
You mentioned it, Josh. A lot of success in the futures market last year. We felt great about those plays. Specifically, a market that we dominated last year was the pitchers' strikeout total unders. We know how many pitchers deal with injuries. It's an unfortunate thing to be betting on, but it is the reality of the business that you can find some really good value in a lot of these unders. However, for this year, not as many crazy lines for the great pitchers, and just not as many lines in general. So your middle tier pitchers, your rookie pitchers, you're not going to have as many lines. I'm assuming they got smoked on those last year because that was crazy. But we always try and find some value, some win totals, some division winners, some awards, stuff like that. So spent a lot of time combing through this thing, and I think we got about four really solid plays for today's video in this year.
Yeah, no doubt. And we're all over the place here with this. We've got division, we've got props, we've got awards, award winners. So listen, this is a jam-packed show here. This is going to be maybe sit back, sip a coffee, open up the sports book, folks, and follow along because Bryce got some good stuff for you here. Bryce, let's start. I mentioned the division. We started in there. Let's start with we're going to go to the AL West. We have ourselves a division winner here that we are betting on. Talk to the folks.
Seattle Mariners, Josh. I mean, in your neck of the woods, the Seattle Seahawks just enjoyed a pretty nice season themselves. And the Seattle Mariners, before that season started, were one game away from reaching the World Series. They had two chances to close out the Blue Jays, unsuccessfully, of course. But this team, as we know, is loaded, especially their pitching staff. Some of the best in the business: Logan Gilbert, Brian Wu. Bryce Miller is a great arm for them as well. The bullpen plays. We know the bats they have. Cal Raleigh coming off a historic season. Julio Rodriguez, Josh Naylor, Randy Arozarena. They bring in Brendan Donovan. We know that this team is elite. They're a World Series favorite for obvious reasons. I believe they have the second or third shortest odds to win the American League outright. And we are getting plus money on them to win the American League West, which is where we're going to start here for 2 units. This division really should be between the Mariners and the Astros, unless we get a well above projection year from Texas or the Sacramento A's, who I think could be 1 to 2 years away. I think they're kind of pushing for when they get to Vegas with that pitching staff. That's a tough place to pitch in Sacramento, as we saw last year. And some above average seasonal temperatures coming there. That's going to be a shoebox. So anytime you're looking for overs, we will be looking for overs in Sacramento, the way that park played last year, and moving on with that. So we're looking at the Astros and the Mariners. When we make these plays, I like to kind of rely a little bit on gut and the projection models that are some of the projections models that I trust. Two of the win total models that I look at are the Bat X and Pacoda. The Bat X has the Mariners favored by 7 wins over the Astros, and Pacoda has them favored by 8 games over Houston. So the projections line up. This feels like a gut play. I feel like anyone who watched the Seattle Mariners last year, watched the Houston Astros, who I think could be a sneaky potential wild card team. But I don't think that they really have a shot at chasing the Mariners for the division. Seattle Mariners to win the AL West for 2 units to open us up here.
Okay, good stuff. Yeah, Mariners had a strong season obviously last season, and Bryce believes they will repeat that once again. That is it for the divisional winners, but let's go on to the props here, Bryce. A part of a big day for us, as I mentioned. We got 10.5 units in total here on the day, so this is a big one. Stay with us here, folks. Props, to the props we go. Let's go to the NL West here. We got a team over there, and we had a little bit of success with this specific prop a year ago. We're returning back to it. Take the folks through what we got over there in the NL West.
You mentioned it, Josh. I mean, 3 straight years now. This is kind of a tradition at this point on this channel. The lovable
Mhm.
losers bet. 2 years ago, of course, we hit big with the Oakland A's over their win projection, and last year the Chicago White Sox, who had a historically low win total, and these are totals that nobody wants to bet on these teams. The Colorado Rockies, especially this year, nobody feels like they should have any reason to bet on this team, but we are going to. Uh, Over 54 and a half wins is our total that we will need to get over, which is pretty insane when you remember these guys play 162. So you're looking at almost 110 losses for this play to lose. This is going to be a 3 unit play, Josh. Our highest for this video for the Colorado Rockies. It's never easy to find reasons to get behind these teams other than these totals are just set way too low. But just some names I pulled up. Hunter Goodman, their power hitting catcher, was really impressive in his rookie season last year. Brenton Doyle looks to be healthy. We know he's one of the best defensive center fielders in the league. Zach Veen came into camp looking retooled. He was at one point a pretty big time prospect. Mickey Moniak as well in that outfield. So there's a lot of former blue chip talent in the outfield that is going to get a chance to rock. Ezekiel Tovar, we've been able to watch the WBC, which has been super entertaining this spring. He has been incredible for Team Venezuela, stealing the starting job away from Andres Jimenez. We're looking for any reason to find 55 wins in this team. But the big drivers in these plays are always the win total projections that I mentioned from Pacoda and the Bat X, which have them at 60 and 63 wins respectively, which means we are grabbing great value, almost 10 wins above projection on the Bat X and over 7 wins on Pacoda, which, these are the lines I've been using the last 3 years. We've had some unders in the past. I don't think we've lost a win total bet on the over or underside on this channel. And we're looking to keep that streak rolling with the Colorado Rockies over 54 and a half wins for 3 units.
All right, yeah, I think I said it last year. You guys can be bad, just don't be historically bad kind of stuff for us. Okay, we'll be all right with the Colorado Rockies here. We'll keep picking off the bottom feeders there, Bryce. I like that. Let's go over. We were just in the NL West. Let's go over to the Central here now for another prop. We've got another one where we had some success on last year as well, another prop. So take us to the mound here, Bryce, where we got another prop that we're looking at.
All right. So I mentioned at the top of the show, we love these under pitcher strikeout total numbers for the season with injury concern, pitch limits for younger guys, stuff like that. I really thought this was going to be, Spencer Strider was going to be a play for the longest time until some of his metrics came back on his stuff. His line was set at 180. Didn't end up pulling the trigger on that one. A couple other guys I was looking at were the WBC guys, Skubal, Skeens, Yamamoto, all rightfully so, have incredibly high lines on their totals. Didn't end up making those plays either, but took a long, hard look at them. The guy that I ultimately settled with here, Josh, is Chase Burns of the Cincinnati Reds, who actually is probably one of the more common pitcher breakout, underrated pitcher for in the fantasy community. Everyone thinks he's going to have a great year. But we are going to be fading that with taking his under 157 and a half strikeouts. This is going to be a 2.5 unit play. I actually texted this over to you yesterday, which would have been Monday the 16th, almost on like an emergency basis, wondering if this play was going to be pulled. There was a lot of reporting coming out. He was shut down after 24 pitches in his last spring outing on Friday. The team called it limited range of motion in his throwing arm, which you never want to hear. This is someone who, towards the tail end of last season, was fighting with a flexor strain, which we know is an injury that can come back. Not something you want to see from a starting pitcher. Nonetheless, a young starting pitcher who was a second overall draft pick like Chase Burns, who has all this potential. I think that the Reds are going to be overly cautious on this. We had a report come out about an hour ago saying that the Reds are in fact going to use a 6-man rotation, which should limit the innings of all these pitchers. If Chase Burns is we're a week away from the season starting, and he's shooting 25 pitches in his most recent spring outing, which doesn't lend itself to say that he's ready to go 5 innings to open the season. So anywhere that we can lose these innings, obviously we lose these strikeouts. Even with a guy with the elite upside that Chase Burns has, the less they pitch, the less strikeouts. That's kind of the basis of these plays. Going into some of the projections here, for pitching, I usually like to use ATC and the bat, which each have him at 152 strikeouts for the year. Oopsie projections has him at 138, and Steamer has him at 130. These were all projections before he was shut down last Friday. So as they adjust their innings projections for him based on the Reds using a 6-man, based on him being shut down, those numbers could only drop. So we were below that number. I think that this was an inflated number, as I mentioned, based on the juice he had coming into camp, all the potential. I mean, he's a great pitcher. I mean, he's got his fastball slider combo. I mentioned Spencer Strider when he was in his prime. Before his surgery, it was a very similar arsenal. But also, again, 2 pitches. We know that, guys have run into trouble with that in the past, especially a hard slider and a hard fastball can lead to injury concerns and red flags. And if nothing else, if he does pitch the full season healthy, we know that Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati is the second most hitter friendly after our Colorado Rockies this year at Coors Field there. So, a lot of reasons to fade this play. The number 157 and a half that we got it at for 2 units, Chase Burns under strikeouts for this season.
Okay. Well, we got our props out of the way as well. Division props, check. Let's go to a couple of award winners here, Bryce. Let's cap it off here. Let's start with our main one here. We're gonna go one of our guys here in our own. Well, I keep saying backyard. I say backyard every time. It's not our backyard. It's kind of our next door neighbor, I guess, if you would. But anyways, we're going to the AL East here. What's the award winner that we have here in Toronto?
So we're looking at the American League Rookie of the Year, which we know Toronto has 2 guys actually in the top 3, maybe even the top 2 candidates they have in Trey Savage and Kazuma Okamoto, who came over from the Yomiuri Giants in Japan. Trey Savage being that high is a little bit interesting. I understand he dominated last season. He's still yet to get into a spring training game. So the second that I kind of saw his name at the top of that list, I knew we were going to have some value here. This is a market I want to take a shot in. That's why we're going to have one play, and then our other award winner is actually just a hedge for the same award, the AL Rookie of the Year. Almost did 2 guys for the hedge, but we got lucky with well, not lucky, but one of our players possible hedges came down with an injury, it would have been Samuel Basallo on Baltimore there. So we're going to wash that one. But we do have Kazuma Okamoto as our main this year, Josh. This is going to be a 2-unit play. This is about 6 times your money when you're placing this. I think there's a bet boost for those on Bet365. You can even juice that up even more. Okamoto, Josh, he's going to be 30 years old when this award is handed out in the winter, which would make him the 3rd oldest player to do that, to win the award. I believe Jose Abreu in the 2010s, I think he was 27 years old when he came over from Cuba and won it with the White Sox. But it is possible for these older guys to win the American League Rookie of the Year. It's not something that the voters hold against them per se. Narrative ball on Twitter, whatever. I mean, we just care about the voters and how they hand this thing out, which is huge for us. Yep. One thing we see with rookies, and especially the Rookie of the Year, you have to accumulate WAR and you have to have a full good season. We've seen so many guys come up, they start hot, or they don't figure it out until too late in the season. I think Kazuma Okamoto has a really good chance, since he is a veteran hitter, since he's played in now 2 World Baseball Classics. He's seen big league pitching. He's had at one point he had 6 30 home run seasons consecutively in Japan. He's a professional hitter. He makes contact. He doesn't strike out a ton. He's going to be playing third base, which will, accumulate some more on defense as well. There were questions if he was going to play first base or DH, depending on who he signed at. We now know he's going to play third base. So as long as the glove is, average at best, we should be accumulating some more there. We know he's got a starting job all season. We don't have to worry about him being called up or down. He's making, I think it's $20 million a year. Don't quote me on that, but that's not a guy you send down. That's not a guy you send to the bench when he's struggling. That's a guy you let figure it out. So Kazuma Okamoto is going to be our first guy and our main guy here for 2 units. And the hedge is going to be Carter Jensen, catcher for the Kansas City Royals, Josh. This play, Carter Jensen is going to be a 1-unit hedge. Similar to last year, we did the comeback player of the year. With Ronald Acuna Jr., we hedged with Sandy Alcantara. Acuna ended up winning, which was best case, but we didn't mind that hedge whatsoever. Carter Jensen, I got some stats here. This is a player that through research, through projections, everything, this is kind of a player I fell in love with. I think one of the more underrated players in the game. And if you don't know him, you probably will, in my opinion, by the end of the season. Last season, Josh, there were 3 players who accomplished a 95 mile per hour average exit velocity with 20% barrel rate and a 58% hard hit rate or better. Those 3 were Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, and Carter Jensen. He only had 69 plate appearances. Obviously was incredible in that. The defensive metrics, I'm not too sure about. The reason I like going catcher here is because the WAR that I mentioned can accumulate so much higher and faster for catchers. He's got a naturally good pop time. I haven't seen too much defensive film on him, admittedly. But another thing to take into account here is that the Royals made some pretty big moves at their park. I don't know if it's still called Kauffman, but if it is Kauffman, then they brought the walls in, Josh, and this is going to help everyone. We know Vinny Pasquantino can find the fountains out in right center. We know Bobby Witt Jr. is a perennial MVP candidate, and now Carter Jensen's going to be a mainstay in this lineup, which might be should be competing with the Tigers for the Central, but might be the favorite in the American League Central. And I think Carter Jensen's going to be a big reason why. I think he has some chances to make some noise here and potentially steal the American League Rookie of the Year here. So we're going to hedge him for 1 unit here. That's paying out 8.5 times your money on that hedge. So a really nice number there for a really great player.
Absolutely. And can confirm that it is still called Kauffman Stadium. I Googled it while you were talking. So
I'll take that.
You're on track there. Bryce, that was a lot of good, hopefully a lot of great by the end of this season here. We've got the WBC wrapping up here tonight. We got some baseball. We've been treated to some good baseball before the real baseball that we want to see starts. I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm fired up. Just to recap this 10.5 unit monster video here for us folks on our MLB Futures episode. Seattle Mariners to win the AL West for 2 units. We've got the Colorado Rockies over 54.5 wins for 3 units, our biggest play on the board. Chase Burns under 157.5 Ks for 2.5 units. And then our award winners, we got Kazuma Okamoto, AL Rookie of the Year for 2 units, and we are hedging that with Carter Jensen, AL Rookie of the Year for 1 unit. 10.5 units in total, Bryce. We were 4-2 last year, plus 18.6 units in the green. We made some good money on this last year. We were eating good after that one. Let's repeat. Let's have a good time. I'm excited, man. What are your closing thoughts, your closing remarks for the people?
Yeah, I'm fired up, man. You bring up that record. All I can think about is those 2 Jacob deGrom strikeouts that went over his strikeout total from last year. It would have just been our hedge that missed.
That was a tough beat.
We'll move, and hopefully we can bring out the brooms for the futures. That'd be special, man. I'm looking forward to this season.
No question about it, folks. We will see you guys very shortly, as we will be back with some plays on the diamond once the regular season fires up. But for now, we will bid you adieu. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe the video, subscribe to the channel, I should say. Check out our newsletter as well. I did not say that at the beginning. Bad hosting for me. We're still in preseason here, but be sure to subscribe to the newsletter where Bryce is going to fire off some plays, and make sure you follow us on X if possible at TJC Bets, where we'll be firing off some plays. Lots of places to catch us, lots of places to get the plays, but you can guarantee we'll be here as well, and we will see you guys shortly. Bryce, thank you, sir. We will see you shortly. And folks, thank you very much for tuning in. Take care.